So the main focus was the German martial arts of Liechtenauer tradition. So they focus mainly on the longsword, definitely. But I had the chance to work on most of the weapons that they offer, and they do like little seminars for each weapon, like training, small training sessions. Some for the messer, some for the sword and buckler and poleaxe and stuff like that. So although you are focusing on the longsword, but you will get exposed to all the weapons and being taught how to handle it, how to work with it in a beginner level. I've done some cutting also with the longsword. And I started also to look into the Italian, the Fiore martial arts. I like the system. The system is all available in one book, so to say, and it's a complete comprehensive system. Also, it goes so Liechtenauer, in my humble opinion, somebody might disagree with me. Definitely, I'm still a beginner and a beginner student in this art. So Liechtenauer is not the common fencing way. It's an advanced way that assumes that you know a lot of the basics. So by looking at the art of Fiore, the art of Fiore starts you from the very basics and the very beginnings. It speaks a lot of the structure of the footwork, gives you a lot of details about the basic way of attack, the basic way of defense. So in my opinion, it's better in building the essential building blocks for a fencer or a martial artist. But again, something was missing. So I'm from the Middle East, so there was something missing. I'm studying a European martial arts. It's cool, but it's not my heritage. It's not something that touches inside my heart, right? So you understand what I'm saying? Some Italian person would study Fiore and it resonates inside them because, oh, this is like the martial arts of my ancestors. This is how it's done in my country. I'm probably this kind of person, which is something. But I mean, a lot of other people from other cultures learning other martial arts and they stay with it for the whole of their life. So it's not a bad thing. But for me, I just, because I was like growing up watching our movies like from the area, and seeing these like curved swords, seeing the type of shields, the type of armor that we were. So I was always fascinated in that. But the issue, I wasn't thinking that there are any manuscripts that teaches this art, and I was truly thinking that this art is lost forever. I was saying that, oh, the European was able to preserve their martial arts in books, but our people were just lost it. I was out of ignorance. But then I stumbled upon a video. It's called, the channel called Razmafzar.
Yes.
Sorry if I'm jumping like without you asking me to that, to that part of our speech, but I was just like scouring the internet, and before that I want to take a step back. I was researching for manuscripts, and I found a couple from the Mamluks era and Ottoman manuscripts and stuff. I found manuscripts that are in my original language. I was able to read the actual manuscript like word by word from the Mamluk, times. I saw some for archery, which is a well-known book called The Arab Archery right now. It's translated to English. I found the actual manuscript in Arabic. I was able to read it and understand it. I mean, at least able to read it. I understand it is a different thing. Well, I love archery, and I'm doing traditional archery, and I'm getting information from here and there, like some of the Chinese school, the Gaoying school. It's also useful because it's the same bow, it's the same type of bow. So, and then I was like, oh, I started to completely change my mind around that. I thought now I know that there are manuscripts that are still preserved and still available in museums. And in the middle of that search, I found a channel called Razmafzar. I really don't understand what does the word mean, but I was able to read it in the Arabic letter because it's a Persian, it's written in Razmafzar, so I was able to read it. So it was a video for one of the members of the channel.
It was Frank?
Yeah, it was Frank.
Yes.
I was, oh, this is cool. I mean, there is a school and Razmafzar USA, they are available here. What's going on? And I started to dive into the channel and see the other videos, and the more I see, the more I got hooked to it. And I was really, because I think it links me to my roots, to my background. I mean, Persia and my country always was, most of the time was one country. The whole region was one country, governed by one empire. So whether it's the Ghaznavid, whether it's Seljuks, whether it's Abbasids, whether it's Safavids, it's all like, they were, each empire of those was like governing the whole region. So it's the same. It's the same weapons. It's definitely the same mentality. One thing I also wanted to mention, the Qama. I don't know if you know about that, but in my country, they are still using the Qama in these places where the common people are. They fight with Qamas. So
same in Iran, I know.
Yeah. So the Qama,
you're talking about illegal activities, right?
Yeah.
But they do. I know.
Sure. Yeah. So these in these like low income areas where people that work every day and they're like either carrying loads or have these little shops and stuff like that, and in these like,
because you mentioned that I have never mentioned it openly on this channel, but okay, let's I'm aware of that because I know museums in your the country, your country of origin, and museum heads, and I'm aware of this because, as you know, also in your country, I know many police heads and so. But back then in that region, we know, for example, many people in Europe and the West, and I never mentioned that, right? Because they always say, yeah, using swords is a thing of the past, right? The Western countries say, and we always laughed and they'll say, yeah, it's in the past because, look, it's in Iraq, it's in Iran, in Caucasus, they use Qameh and Kinjal. Still, sadly, go to South and Middle America, machete, they use it. Look at Brazil, go to Colombia.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
So those guys who say that, now it's on the channel, it's very bad, but as you said that these are illegal activities, low income areas, but yeah, they use them. I am aware of that.
I'm sorry if I'm going ahead of myself, but it's there. So there's a lot of legal aspects, illegal acts, that's happening around the world. So if we mention it in a channel, it's not going to change anything. It's available. Everybody knows that it is available. But
yes, it is.
It is. Yeah. The Qama. So back to the Qama. The Qama, I saw it in your channel, and then I was, I know this weapon. I see this a lot. So
yes.
So
scary
there's
weapon.
A lot of
scary weapon.
Well, definitely because you'll be. There is one of, I forgot the exact wording for that, but Hans Talhofer, in his section when he speaks about the dagger and when he speaks about I think even the messer, I don't know, there is like a phrase that I forget about, but it's the bottom line. It says that we are picking up daggers. God helps us right now because it's dangerous. It's the reach is very, the act is very quick. The reach is very short, so you won't be able to to act safely most of the time. It's a dangerous maneuver. You won't be escape without wounds, at least.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
But for example, one thing now, this is in English. Many people, possibly when they watch it, they don't speak fluent English. They're not going to understand that. When we teach for our team in the Middle East, be it Iran or some other areas, they always tell us, okay, you can teach everything. Shamshir and Sapar, axe, you can teach mace, gores, neze, archery, everything, but you cannot here teach game and gattare. Yeah, they don't want it. You see, just don't talk about them because of the reputation of these weapons, right, among population, right? Seriously, for example, I've given many seminars in Iran. It's always shamshir, sapar, neyze, spear. It's about all weapons, but and it's even hanja, right? It's curved. It's a shorter, right? But even cart, which is a knife, but not kamen. You cannot simply mention this. But I always say, guys, this is part. It was part of the training. If some guys use it, it's so. I mean, I'm sorry, not okay because you mentioned I know, right? But because you come from the region, so that's why it came up. My other guys don't know the region, so it never comes up. And with Iranians, I speak Persian, so it doesn't come up in English. So because you mentioned it, let's put it this way: the whole idea is like this. I say, guys, it is ridiculous. You can go and get an axe to chop wood. It is as dangerous as a war axe. There is no difference between an axe, which you can chop wood. As far as card is for knife, go and get a Japanese kitchen knife. I'm a passionate cook. I have many Japanese kitchen knives. And I'm telling you what Japanese kitchen knives are capable of. You can use to fight animal with that. I'm sorry, you don't forget about human beings, right? So all these things. Oh, this is dangerous. I mean, everything can be dangerous, right? I mean, it's just the person behind it. But but because of reputation, and because unfortunately, those people who use them, as you said, low income, and then they're aggressive. They're very aggressive. People are afraid of them. So let's put it this way: people in the Middle East know how dangerous a game is. For example, people in the West, it's good. They don't know how dangerous a longsword is or a rapier is, because they have another connection to that. But, again, in the Middle East, people underestimate shamshir. But, shamshir is much more dangerous than a game. Of course it is. It is much powerful cut. You can cut. I do lots of cutting tests with shamshir. A game can never do such a powerful cut. But people in our countries don't know what a shamshir is capable of because it's so far away. You understand?
They don't see it. Yeah, they don't see it.
They don't see it, but kame they do, right? Yeah. So that's the problem, right?
One of the sessions where in the Academy of Arms, we hold like plastic training longswords. So you don't have any appreciation to this weapon. You are not afraid of it. It's not gonna cut. It's not gonna thrust. It's not gonna do anything. The only probably part of the longsword that resembles the real weapon is the pommel.
Yes.
That could probably generate a similar force, but that's all. So when somebody like wave a longsword, a plastic longsword in front of people, nobody gets freaked out on them, just like that, relax. And then we were doing this like for testing purposes. So they draw like a real longsword. The moment the guy draws that sword, everybody just start to spread away. They start to give distance because it's like, oh, it's a live blade. It's going on. It's like waving in front of the people. So people start to like have that appreciation for that and like respect, so to say. I don't know if I'm using the right word, but it's respect to that weapon of what it can do. So I think the shamshir, our people are less afraid of it because they don't see it normally. But the kame and the card is still like aspects of our life. So
yeah, of
we
course.
see those weapons and we see what they can do sometimes in our own eyes. So that's a dangerous thing. But I'm pretty sure if we see the shamshir, what a shamshir can do in our own eyes, we will have the same probably thing. I don't know.
Yeah, of course. I do lots of cutting tests with different swords, and when you see what the shamshir can do in cutting, you will not believe your eyes. And because of the curve of the blade, the cuts are so vicious cutting instruments, vicious. It's unbelievable what you can do with it. But yeah, that's it's interesting that you mentioned that. Okay, go ahead, please. I didn't want to stop you. Go ahead, and then.
Also, thank you. So that's all. So I've got into it, and also I love the aspect of the archery, the availability of the archery. So the Western martial arts, they don't look really with appreciation to the archery.
Yeah.
Much. except the English, but
Yeah.
still, they think it's like it's not a knight weapon that a knight can take to the battlefield, and so even yeah, you want to say something, and I'm keeping interrupting.
No,
Go
I
ahead,
mean,
please.
as you know, I translated 9 Persian archery manuals, and they're in my academia page. Some of them are in my books. You know, I translated them, and we practice. So you know, we are not practicing many techniques. You know, for example, from these archery manuals. Also, some of them new. For example, in the past, we knew from because Arab annuals always talk Borut Kesh, and they said the source is Persian. But back then, I didn't know. I was the first one who translated the source. So it comes here, Borut Kesh, mustache draw. Then we have Abru Kesh. But then, you know, for example, Arab archery or Turkish Kipchak archery, they said Abru Kesh is not good, but Persian manuals say Borut Kesh is favored by many, but some people, like in Isfahan, do Abru Kesh, eyebrow draw. But
Yeah,
then we have Sine Kesh, which is chest draw. And then I found like, you know, Rish Kesh, beard draw. So it comes here. And then the way you hold your hand, up to now, we have 7 ways of grasping the bow grip. Then there are different areas how you hold. I mean, it's so complicated, you know. So what we are doing, we are training from it. But then I talked to Beat, our member from Australia, who's a master archer. So we are going to write a book specifically because the language is, of course, Persian, very poetic. I translated, explained. But we are going to make tables, and then we're going to publish a book on that together. And then there's like tables, and then different varieties of different ways you pull, your hold, or your legs. You have so many mathematical variations, right? And at the end of the day, you say, guys, I don't care. I just want to shoot because it's so complicated. But then again, you know, it shows what kind of art it was. But in one of those master archers says, okay, but he was a master archer, I have to say. He was not a master swordsman from the area. But he writes, archery is a noble activity. You start always with archery. Then you end up with other weapons. The reason is the following. Archery shows your dexterity, shows that you are knowledgeable. But when it comes to swords, the level of dexterity and knowledge comes to the ignorant. You become an animal and you try to kill. And if it comes to the khanjar, the dexterity reduces to a beast. You see that? The way he looked, okay, he's a master archer, I have to say. We need to ask someone who comes from the other area. But you see, the way I mean, it doesn't mean that he doesn't know the other areas. He knows the other areas. But you see how the way it's looked at. Archery, as you know that, for example, also in Zurkhane in Persian, when they use these kappa, they say it is the dexterity. I mean, also all those stories, you know, a bow which few people could draw is a question of strength, right? But I think this European tradition, of course, they had it as well. They had it on the battlefield. I mean, archery, also later on Crossbowman, were extremely important in Europe. I mean, we all know that before the invention of firearms, even at the same time. They had it. I mean, it was as important. They had it. It's not that it was not important. So the whole look for me in Razmafzar is, you know, also not only the way these simple manuscript, I also go through different battle accounts, also miniatures, try to see if I can see a consistent pattern of techniques. As you know, the Middle East, we are very traditional, like Japan, like China. Look at the Japanese swordsmanship. Look at Tenshin Shoden Katerishin Torio, which I practice. 15th century, 16th century, kept. But if you look and go hundreds of years, you see the similar patterns of techniques in Japanese swordsmanship. The same you see in Persian. Very traditional, very conservative, right? I mean, in Europe, you have much more variety, but because it's European, you see, it is European mind. You know, for example, you know, you studied practice Japanese sword, you know, fight. You know, Europeans wanted to train karate, right? For example, be it Shotokan or Kyokushin. They pay a lot of money, or judo. They go to Japan. But one week, you know, my friend who is a good Shotokan fighter, he also does lots of competition, went there, said, and he's a black belt. They looked at him, your basics are not good. And he paid thousands of euros. Suki. So what? Suki. So he did, after paying thousands of euros, 1 week only Suki. And he said, I could kill all of them. I said, Manusha, I paid so much money. And after 1 week, he said, oh, your Suki improved. I said, what? And he said, you and my friend is American. I don't want to mention his name because he doesn't want it, but it's okay. One day I will interview him. He's a very good Shotokan fighter. Then he will tell the story himself. I hope he will come here soon. And he said, I paid thousands of euros to this guy. And he said, Suki. And he told me, you Americans, same with Europeans, all want to have more, 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 more. We in Japan, simple. Suki is important. And he said, I paid you thousands of euros. I come next year. What do you teach? Suki. And he said, Manusha, I can kill this guy. I know how to do Suki. And the guy said, you cannot punch. And he's a black belt. So, and I told him, listen. I said, you're also always pro-Japanese because, I'm an instructor in Kyokushin. I said, listen to me. Listen, I also come from Asia. Middle East is in Asia. I understand Japanese. You guys don't understand this mentality. You always want to have more. This is different mentality because perfection in Asia is by repeating, the technique again and again. For example, once you teach here, you do one technique. Okay, what is the next technique? You just trained it like for 5 minutes. The next technique, you see? Okay, then the next technique, the next combination, you see? Because we are used, as you know, in the West, consumption. More, bigger car, bigger house. You see? That's the whole idea. And it transfers to martial arts as well. But, I really love Japanese, or like judo, the same thing. Then judo, okay, well, your osotogari is not good. My osotogari is not good. I'm a black belt. Yeah, osotogari is not good. But osotogari is this first or second technique you learn in judo. This is a very simple throw. No, osotogari is not good. So they train osotogari. And then, everyone who goes to Japan is so disappointed because they always bring us to the basics. But, they don't do it to belittle people. They really, Dean, they see the problem of basics. They really do. They're excellent instructors, Japanese. They really see it. I think this is an intercultural misunderstanding that many Western people do not understand the Japanese mentality. Japanese mentality is not there to keep you small or not to grow. They want you to reach perfection.
Yeah.
They want you to reach perfection, not to have thousands of things. And I think this is something which, as I mentioned, that you can see Shamshir Bafar Saddam, for example. You see it in many manuscripts. You see it in miniatures. You see, again, battle account. You see even stories. The same techniques are repeated. The same pattern goes. And you can find, like a profiler does, you can establish a pattern. It's so wonderful to look at it. But I seriously believe, if someone, and I'm sure, I don't speak Arabic, but I'm sure Arabic, Persian, Turkish, and because I'm working with my Turkish colleagues at universities, I work for Ankara and also for Istanbul and many other universities. They're working on manuscripts from Ottoman empires. They told me the same thing. Many things are repeated. You see the pattern. This is a mentality of the region. You see?
Yeah.
We share this. This is after all, they call it Middle East. It's all Asia, right? It's all Asia, a huge continent, right? So, and I think this conservative attitude you can find in it, right? You can see it also in archery. You can see it in many things. And if you come and try, I think if you want to compare it to other arts, you need always to take these intercultural differences into consideration.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yes. I'm really happy that you are so interested in Razmafzar. Have you started with your training or not yet?
Yeah, I don't have I wish I have more time to spend on my training, but I'm doing it for now. I'm doing it on the weekends only. So I pick up my Sapar, and I've got the Sapar from Razmafzar's Smith.
You got it from Sergey. Okay, you're very good. I didn't know that.
Beautiful.
Very good.
It's a beautiful piece of art, actually. It's
great.
Yeah, it's a handmade object. Definitely, you'll see that from the way it's
handmade.
But there's so much effort and so much time has been invested in this little piece, and it's fabulous just to look at it.
It is heat treated. It is hardened. It's Everything is there. It's handmade. You know, have you seen my armor? I have 2 sets of armor made by him. The armor every one of us has, they're all handmade by him.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a
they're
beautiful work. Yeah.
Yes, they are. Yeah. Yeah, they are
And I've
real,
got
and the Sapar as well. Yeah.
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 I'm working on the first level Tazakar. But by the way, how do you pronounce it?
Yeah, Tazekar, that's correct.
Tazakar.
Tazekar.
Well,
Yes.
Tazakar, it makes sense in Arabic. It means like to remember. Is this the same word?
Tazekar means actually, Taze means new, and kar, doing new things.
Oh, I see. So it's not like I was thinking it's another common word with Arabic. It means like to study or to remember. But
No, sometimes we need to be careful. It's like, you know, sometimes because I speak Spanish and I think I understand Italian, but I understand it in the wrong way because they're Latin. But, you know, there's a false France concept, right?
Okay, yeah, that's right. But we use taze though. So it's
Oh, you do?
so something new. You say, oh, this is taze. So taze is another word that is used in my country. So
Oh, okay, interesting, interesting.
so
Very good.
taze is new and car is what?
Car is like work.
Oh, I see.
Car is work.
It's
Actually.
good to know that. Yeah.
New work, right?
So,
And
so
together, Tazekar means a beginner.
beginner. I see. I see. Yeah. So I'm in Tazakar right now. I'm probably in combo 4. I'm trying to work these again and again every time I have, you know, the time to do it. So yeah, I'm planning to continue working on these combinations, and hopefully after talking to you and ask you when is the time to start, you know, filming myself and send you, you know, my videos for feedbacks.
Absolutely. It will be a pleasure to do that. It will be a pleasure. Okay, then at the end of our talks, would you like to share something with our viewers, please, Dean?
I think it's, I don't know, I just want to share my happiness and joy to find this school and to find people that are really dedicated to revive the martial arts of that specific region. You see, I mean, you see a lot of like unrest and a lot of politics going on and a lot of miseries and pain going on in that region right now. Unfortunate, you know. But then on the other side, you see people like you and like the team in Razmafzar in general, you know, working hard to bring these, you know, these old arts and revive them and, you know, bring them. So it's not now it's not a move that is only in Europe or like specifically done by European people. It's now all over the world. You see people from Africa trying to revive these old arts and ancient arts. I really, you know, as a person that really likes the traditional martial arts and all that stuff, I really feel happy to see, you know, as much as movements comes up in all over the world to bring and revive these arts. So
have
yeah.
you seen the depth and the knowledge of our colleagues in Mexico? I interviewed them. They show the Aztec. I mean, it's so solid academic research. They do it in Spanish. So, I mean, the interviews are in Spanish. But, I mean, guys, you know, I'm just saying, watch those videos. They are academics, fighters, Aztec arts, the warriors of Mesoamerica, and unbelievable what they have been doing, right? So much research into that. And also our colleagues for African martial arts, definitely. Or our colleagues like in Caucasus, right? Caucasus in the, guys, okay, not the Caucasian as we use in the US. Caucasus means there is a region, right? North of Iran, right? Nothing to do with this Caucasian, right? Okay, they're reviving those arts, and there are many others, and this is wonderful, as you said, to see all these things. Wonderful.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be a member of Razmafzar. It's a pleasure and honor, and you know, working with some, you know, with some wonderful people and a wonderful, you know, instructor, you know, ahead of the Razmafzar it's like a nice experience. And
thank you very much, Dean.
I'm just speechless. I don't know what to say actually. I'm so happy to find that group actually.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot for taking your time, and I'm going to invite you again back to this channel later on. Thanks a lot. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.